Scientists have confirmed that climate change is real, human-caused, a danger today as ocean acidification, extreme weather, and change of climate patterns, and a profound danger for tomorrow with rising sea levels, abrupt climate change, and potential positive feedbacks that could lead to runaway warming. A full carbon price on greenhouse gas pollution is required to stop the pollution that is killing the biosphere and threatening humanity.
Yo diría que sobre esto hay que interesar a las Naciones Unidas.
Pope Francis, in his 2015 encyclical letter Laudato Si, demands that a fully borne carbon price be placed on greenhouse gas pollution in order to prevent millions of premature deaths. According to the International Energy Agency, in sub-Saharan Africa, over 80% or nearly 728 million people depend on solid fuels such as charcoal and firewood for cooking, more than any other region in the world. The IEA estimates that by 2030, 1 billion people in sub-Saharan Africa will depend on biomass as their main energy source. Open fires and traditional cook stoves produce incomplete combustion of fossil fuel, causing high black carbon emissions. They also have low combustion efficiency, which leads to longer cooking time and increased fuel use. Every day, around 3 billion people cook food and heat their homes using solid fuels like firewood and charcoal in traditional cook stoves or open fires. The impact is that 4.3 million of them die prematurely annually. This is caused by exposure to smoke. Women and girls in particular face health, safety, and economic risks. Forests are depleted and the environment is degraded. 21% of global black carbon emissions are also attributed to smoke from cook stoves. Renewable energy has been sold as the energy source of the future for sustainable development.
The fact that people went through a particular route of development, does not mean that we must go through exactly the same route. We should actually take a better route. You understand? We should take a better route. If the better route, what we should look at is what is good for us. If it is good for us to go exactly the same way they went, so be it. That's the way we should go. If it is, however, better for us to take a different and improved route, why abandon that? That's the issue. It took them 20, 50, 100 years to do certain things. We don't have to go that route. We may be able to do it in less, in 5 years. In doing their own, they created lots of problems. We don't have to create those problems. We cannot say that, yes, this country developed through the labors of slaves and things like that. So in order for us to develop, we need to enslave some people, so that we can get to where they got to because of slave labor. We can't do such things. So, we must take on the improved systems. That's really what I'm saying. And I think it's retrogressive to say this is the only way to succeed. No. You don't have to say that you can only develop by destroying other things. We can get into sustainable development, approaches. We can use sustainable development approaches to achieve whatever we want to achieve.
The World Bank and the United Nations Environment Programme estimate that the cost of managing climate resilience will continue to rise to $20 to $50 billion by mid-century and closer to $100 billion in the event of a 4 degrees Celsius warming. Meanwhile, the bank has unveiled a new plan that calls for $16 billion in funding to help African people and countries adapt to climate change and build up the continent's resilience to climate shocks.
This plan is ambitious. This plan will have to reverse with the way we do business. So far, around $3 billion investment are done for adaptation to climate change in Africa. We believe we have to go to an investment program of around $16 billion for the next few years to be able to address this issue more seriously.
Specifically in Africa, we will try to do 3 things. We try to strengthen resilience, to power resilience, and to enable resilience. And we mean by that it will be an opportunity to move to a growth path which is based on smart agriculture, on climate resilient landscape, on forest management, on coastal zone management, and to support ocean economies. We try also to power resilience. As you all know, Africa is facing a huge shortage of electricity and energy. The programs that we're trying to put forward will be a program that will be supporting renewable energy, solar power, geothermal and hydropower. And that these are resources that Africa has in abundance.
The World Bank plan lays out measures to boost the resilience of the continent's assets, that is, its people, land, water, and cities, as well as other moves including boosting renewable energy and strengthening early warning systems. By current estimates, the plan says that the region requires $5 to $10 billion per year to adapt to global warming of 2 degrees Celsius.
Combating climate change is the challenge of our generation. It's time to get serious. This year is set to be the hottest on record. Extreme weather conditions are already wreaking havoc across the world. Let me be clear, we will lose an historic opportunity to end poverty in a single generation if we do not tackle climate change. We need urgent and ambitious international action. I'm joining world leaders in Paris to stop climate change from reversing the tremendous gains we've made against poverty. The momentum for a cleaner, healthier world is obvious. It's why I'm optimistic. This conference presents world leaders with a critical opportunity to turn away from the destructive path that we've been on for far too long. We must reach a meaningful deal. The longer we delay, the higher the cost will be to do the right thing for our planet and for our children.
Of the $16.1 billion that the ambitious plan proposes for fast-tracking climate adaptation, some $5.7 billion is expected from the International Development Association, the arm of the World Bank Group that supports the poorest countries. About $2.2 billion is expected from various climate finance instruments, $2 billion from others in the development community, $3.5 billion from the private sector, and $700,000 billion from domestic sources, with an annual $2 billion needed to deliver on the plan. The World Bank Group plan will boost the region's ability to adapt to a changing climate while reducing greenhouse gas emissions, focusing on a number of concrete actions. It identifies a dozen priority areas for action that will enhance Africa's capacity to adapt to the adverse consequences of climate variation and change. The first area for action aims to boost the resilience of the continent's assets. These comprise natural capital, that is landscapes, forests, agricultural land, inland water bodies and oceans, then the physical capital, which are the cities, the transport infrastructure, the physical assets in coastal areas, and then the human and social capital, where efforts should include improving social protection for the people most vulnerable to climate shocks and addressing climate-related drivers of migration. The second area for action focuses on powering resilience, including opportunities for scaling up low-carbon energy sources, in addition to helping mitigate climate change. These activities offer considerable resilience benefits, as societies with inadequate access to energy are also more vulnerable to climate shocks. And the third area for action will enable resilience by providing essential data, information, and decision-making tools for climate-resilient development across sectors. The Africa Climate Business Plan reflects contributions and input from a wide variety of partners with whom the bank is already collaborating on the ground in a coordinated effort to increase Africa's resilience to climate variability and change. The plan aims to help raise awareness and accelerate resource mobilization for the region's critical climate resilience and low-carbon initiatives. The plan warns that unless decisive action is taken, climate variability and change could seriously jeopardize the region's hard-won development gains and its aspirations for further growth and poverty reduction. And it comes in the wake of bank analysis which indicates climate change could push up to 43 million more Africans into poverty by 2030.
This is of great concern. Whatever CO2 has been emitted in the atmosphere stays there for a very long time. for decades to centuries. So it is, time is really not on our side. There's urgency, because we have already 1 degree behind us, and at the rate the emissions are increasing, there's not much flexibility, but it is still possible to do it, provided there's a strong decision in Paris.
Today, I close with the words of the World Bank President Jim Yong Kim that international action on climate change must reflect our new understanding of what is at stake, the fate of hundreds of millions of people who live in extreme poverty today, and the well-being of more than 100 million more who could be pushed into it. The World Bank President also said that by doing the right thing, we can preserve the planet for future generations and end extreme poverty. The two together would be humankind's greatest achievement. Just think about that. Till next week when we are back with you on the program. Bye for now.